We are live. Welcome back for this, our second session of Heart. This episode has been titled, How Much Is That Doggie? Which, you know, seems sweet and soft, unlike this game. Which leads me into our content warnings. Welcome, friends. We're happy to have you. We want to share this story with you, but we do also want to warn you that we are playing a bit of a dark, spooky game, and dark, spooky things happen, so we do have content warnings, and we do want y'all to take care of yourselves. If you need to step away at any time for any reason, please do feel free to do so. Don't feel bad. We're playing with some dark and spooky stuff. So hi everyone, welcome, thank you all, thanks for that raid, thank you Salty Sweet Games, we heart your heckin' faces, thank you for being here, for being lovely and wonderful and awesome. We want to, I'm gonna quickly say a few things for the channel. We want to thank Roll20 for their Spotlight program, for being awesome cool beans who highlight lots of cool indie stuff, including us! Hey y'all, we're cool shows, cool indie shows that Roll20 highlights. Thanks Roll20! This beautiful, lovely map and stuff you are seeing on the screen is done by Jordan, our amazing GM in Roll20. It looks heckin' cool and lets us share lots of stuff from this game with you. And speaking of this game is Heart by Rowan, Rook, and Deckard. It is a very heckin' cool game. We got to give away a whole heckin' bundle last week, and we do have another bundle to give away later in the season. We will be doing that, and it's not just the base game, it is a whole heckin' set of lots and lots of very cool stuff by them for this game. So yes, thank you all so much for being here. I do want to highlight one other thing, bring your attention to the bottom. I am pointing, I think, in the right direction. Everyone point down, everyone just point down. I'll point you down to the bottom of the screen. It's the bottom right of your screen. We have something that says, knock at the door. And that's something you can do to intrude upon our game, or, you know, give us a nice, dramatic, narrative gift, you might say. That is something that will allow, Jordan to immediately propose a problem or an issue or something fun knocking at our door in this game. That is something you can do through donations, it is an overall goal bar. So currently we have $10 in it from our last game, and as soon as we hit 50, that's when something terrible might happen. And at the end of our campaign, all that money will be split up and given to the cast to thank them for their time, their efforts, their wonderful portrayals, and for going through. I think in our session 0, I said go through some traumatic moments for the lulz, I think is what we said. So yes, thank them for being awesome, for being fun sports, and doing this cool fun game with us, and yeah, all that good stuff. So I think that's everything I had to say. Thank you all for being here. I do also want to point out we do have web captioners, so that's something that we use for accessibility in the channel, and we do play this game complete with safety tools, so that content warning is one that we are sharing with you. So once again, to remind you that just like everyone at this table is absolutely encouraged to get up and step away if ever they need, that goes the same for anyone watching. We want everyone to be good and safe and comfy and happy. Yeah, that being said, hi, I'm Jess. I always feel like, should I have said that first? Did I just walk up to a bunch of strangers and, like, talk their ear off and then say, like, hi, I'm Jess? This is my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I can be found at go_JG and pretty much all the places online, and I'm happy to be here playing this game with these awesome people. And today I will be Mellifera, your deep apiarist. Yes! Sorry, I was checking the web captioner. Nailed it! Got it! Yes. Deep apiarist. Who just wants everything to be neat and organized, and things that belong in the heart, and things that don't belong in the heart don't belong in the heart, okay? This is important.
Derek's asking how they donate to knocking at the door again?
I'm pretty sure it's !knock, but we can double check. Yep, there we go. !knock will bring that up for you. That being said, let's go around and say hi to everyone. We will throw over next to Sharon. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I forgot what we were supposed to say. My name is Sharon. You can find me on Twitter with @Chew_Baka. And today I'm going to be playing Ochre, who is a hound. Just sort of a protective or protector of the Haven.
Sort of like the City Watch.
Who has many young fans in town.
Friends.
The pups. Sorry. I'm just happy about the pups. Let's go around and say hi next to Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam. You can find me at @SamandDamiel. My pronouns are they and she. We use either one. You can use both in the same sentence. I love that especially. And I'm playing Vantage, our dead walker, who uses they, them. And I've currently found a dog.
Dog kind of found you, to be honest.
We found each other.
Yeah. And I mean,
Perfect.
it should also be dog, I think.
Dog, yeah. Quote, dog, unquote.
Dog. Perfect, thank you. Sorry, I keep getting distracted because I find everything very amusing. This game is very good, y'all. Let's go over next and say hello to Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hello, I'm Ryan. You can find me on Twitter @TheOneTrueK, and I will be playing Roa the Witch, who has been sent down to the heart to make amends for reading, because reading is a no-no in their order. But I just can't stop. Books.
Oh no, the dark siren's call of books.
Book addiction, it's real.
Ah, gosh. If
So,
I
at home as a teenager, their parents come in. What are you doing? Why aren't you playing your Nintendo?
I swear, nobody would read a book here. That's gross. I hate words. Like, oh god.
I expect you to stay up until 4 a.m. playing your Nintendo, young man.
I'm just imagining it's like not even books, it's like ABC blocks or something. Throw those out.
Are you assembling letters together into words?
No, this
You're out.
is a letter? I have no idea.
I was just drawing lines that ended up in a specific combination. Anyways. Hi, Jordan. How are you today?
You told us about your character? Deep Apios,
Oh.
that's right. You tested the thing.
Yep.
Okay. I'm Jordan.
I
I'm
said
at
it
Made of
very,
Cartoons.
very exaggeratedly.
That's right. I remember now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am Jordan. I'm at Made of Cartoons on Twitter, and I am the GM of this hard game, which we have all been very excited to get back to. And also, welcome to Sharon, who couldn't play with us on our session 1. So Sharon and Ochre are going to get a bit of a special cold open, I think, to introduce them into the mix.
Oh no.
I will quickly do a recap of what happened last session. They're available on YouTube, so please go and watch for the full thing, because there's a lot of fun shenanigans and intros. But our story revolves around the keepers and caretakers of Baffling Din, which is a haven sandwiched in the second tier of the heart, not quite as deep as you can get, but getting closer to the heart itself. It is a little town, apartment buildings that have been established trying to keep the heart song out, the thing that lures some of our players, some of our characters, pardon me, and all of our players, to head deeper into the heart. And so Baffling Din was named as such because it is a noisy place that keeps out the Song of the Heart. We started at night, whereas most places in the Heart don't have a day and night cycle. Baffling Din does, since it is a weird place. And something resembling a borzoi dog ran up to Vantage, our friendly neighborhood psychopomp, I guess, to use the word we were using in setup, and also the Gravekeeper. And the dog, if you can imagine a borzoi, they're very strange long boys that have really unusual snouts. And if you can imagine that, except they had no skin on their face and it was just a skeleton skull. That was the friendly creature that came up to Vantage. They discovered that its name was Jewel, and that it belonged to an Incarnadine by the name of Rubius Crowfer. I dare you to get that. Oh, ooh, very close at the thing. Rubius Crowther. All right. But an Incarnadine, sort of a priest of debt, it belonged to them. The dog had obviously run off during some kind of caravan or something like that, and they decided that the party decided they were going to return the dog. There were some shenanigans along the way, but we'll worry about those when we come back. The bigger issue was that Ochre had left like the day before in order to head to the Red Market. The Red Market being sort of the HQ of the Incarnadines, the Incarnadine sect in the Heart. And Ochre, sort of being an elder statesperson now in Baffling Din, it acts more as the face than actually being sort of the beat cop that the other hounds are. So Ochre was heading to the Red Market to just do regular diplomatic stuff, but should have been back. It's not that long a trip, and Ochre has been missing for has been gone longer than the people of Baffling Din were expecting. And when Ochre isn't around, Baffling Din descends a little bit into chaos. So we're going to kind of rewind a bit to to before our story even started last session, with Ochre getting ready to head out on their diplomatic trip. The Red Queen, Carmine Hypatia, just requires basically almost just a tithe, from Baffling Din in order to maintain the route between Red Market and the Din, to make sure, the people are safe, and just things cost money. She'll always say things cost money, and so you just kind of bring a little bit of some honey and various things that Baffling Din produces, and you just kind of do this pilgrimage to the Red Market every dozen pulses or so. You head over. And
couching in religious terms makes it very
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hypatia is a priestess of Incarnadine, and I mean, you always owe them. That's how they work. So, what is the difference between Ochre at home in Baffling Din and Ochre getting ready to go on the road? What are the kind of the key differences there? What do you prepare?
Well, I trade for a slightly more practical set of heals, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Working heals, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the thing.
Practical kitten heals, I think is what people pretend those are. I probably have an overcoat on top of everything else that I wear to try to protect my clothes from travel wear and tear. wash my face.
Is that something you don't do?
I mean, for some reason, I'm going through a whole morning routine in my
Right,
head,
yeah.
which is, but like, I think internally, it's a lot of bracing herself for stepping outside of the protective noise. Maybe I grab some earplugs and a few extra sets for my way out.
Yeah, maybe like little waxen plugs that are made out of the beeswax and stuff. Sure. And you have been up and down the Red Queen's Way. Like, you know the layout of this by like the back of your own hand, and so you would also know that there's all kinds of salespeople and various people trying to separate you from your silver. And the earplugs, I imagine, also kind of help. It's kind of like keeping your headphones on the bus so that no one talks to you.
So they're probably connected with the red chain or something to make it really obvious that I'm wearing earplugs.
That's right.
It's a distancing measure.
But as you walk, as you head out and give maybe some final orders to the hounds you're leaving behind, you do bring something with you. You bring the Song of the Baffling Din. It doesn't leave you. We haven't really determined what that song sounds like, but it is the earwormiest earworm you could think of. So whatever your viewers at home, whatever your classic earworm is, imagine that just like a virus leaking out of the pores of Baffling Din and traveling with you. It works a bit like a tether, I think. So it also helps you find your way back easily, but yeah, it's always there, even with the plugs in. So as you start walking down the Red Queen's Way, Ochre, you see the usual. There are these gilded tracks. It's an old Vermisian tunnel that has been repurposed. And the gilded tracks and red draperies that kind of decorate a lot of the Incarnadine's regalia is very bright and very kind of colorful. Everything has that golden sheen to it. And the influence of Baffling Din on this space is that just like Baffling Din grows apartments and living spaces, the mix of Incarn's influence and Baffling Din's strange occult magic has caused shop fronts to sprout up along the tunnel walls. And enterprising, do we have a name for, are we calling them dinners or bafflers, or what is a person from Baffling Din? I like them being called bafflers, but
I really like baffler.
Okay, all right. So enterprising bafflers and Incarnadine have set up their own shops, and it has become quite a bustling market. But your head's down. You keep an eye out for anyone who might need some help, and you just start along the trek, stepping aside every once in a while for a hand trolley that goes by, being pushed or pulled or pumped by serfs on behalf of their Lord Incarnadine. But as you walk, the kind of gold-dusted stone ground that you're used to suddenly squelches underfoot, and you look down, and something has happened, and you are no longer standing in the Red Queen's Way. The floor is red, and your feet kind of stick to it as you take a few more steps. There's like a wet, just squelch is the best word for it. Unfortunately, it's moist also as you step forward, and you realize the tunnel has changed dramatically around you. You see the basic shapes of the Red Queen's Way, but they have been painted over, or they're skin has been peeled away, either way, to reveal just this red flesh. So everything around you is frozen. There is a hand cart coming up the way, but it has stopped mid-motion and is made out of just, you can see the streaks of fat and the fleshy meat of everything all around you. And it was like in a blink, the facade of everything was peeled away. What would you like to do? Screaming is okay if you want to get a little scream out.
I think that Ochre would kind of pause and take a step back. And it's like everything has changed to have that.
Yeah, if
right?
There's no portal to step back through. As you step back, you turn to look behind you, the tunnel continues.
Mm-hmm.
And then presumably down at the end is the area of Baffling Din, but it's and I mean, you have maybe been walking for 20 minutes or something like that. But it's kind of hard to see because everything is the same color for the most part, this blood red, and it's all blending together. But you're still standing beside the same shop that you were just passing by, and you know that that's what it is, but it's made out of meat.
If I step forward, do the points of my heels like push between the muscle fibers of the floor?
They certainly do. It's difficult to walk.
Okay. I'm going to crouch down for a second and put my hand on the floor and ask, what? It's been so long. Why now?
There's no response, but you can feel your heartbeat go in sync with the beat, the heartbeat that is coming through the flesh of the ground here, and the combination of the pulses just kind of reverberate against each other, amplifying each other as well. It starts to become kind of too much at a certain point, and I'll need you to make your first roll of our game, a endure cursed roll, please.
Okay. I have neither of those, so it's just a straight D10, correct?
That's right.
I got a 7.
All right, so that's a partial success. In the cases of endure, you're usually I was about to inflict some stress to you, and then endure reduces that stress or eliminates it. So you reduced it by getting a partial success, so you're only going to take D4 echo stress, but maximum 4 echo stress.
Okay.
If I recall, because of your heart song background, you have 1 resistance, so it becomes only 3.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will need you to get to roll a D12 against your total stress to find out if you get any fallout.
I rolled an 8.
And you have 3 total, so you're fine. If you roll equal to or under, you'll get fallout. You pull your hand away. Your hand has begun to sink in. It was almost up to the wrist, and you pull your hand back, and warm, wet blood covers it. And the thing that catches your ear next is the music, the song of the Baffling Din has changed, and then you realize it's playing in reverse. Like, you recognize the song, but it's like someone has, I don't know if you can reverse a record, but it's playing backwards. And you are drawn maybe, 100 feet back towards the Baffling Din. You barely have gotten far from there, and something pulls you in that direction. It's like the heart wants you to see something.
It's actually closer to Baffling Din, so yeah, I'll try and follow it, walking as carefully as I can.
The road is still recognizable enough, since you've walked it many, many, many times. And as you find your way to the end of the tunnel, and you look up to the kind of always shifting, ever sprouting tower that is Baffling Din, you're upset to see that it is writhing at a rate that you have never seen it, and rooms and entryways and furniture is like growing on it like polyps at a massive rate, and a bunch of flooring and walls and windows start to like take a more humanoid kind of shape, in the fact that an arm made of living materials, housing materials, starts to like push out of the side and then form into a fist and slam into the ground, and you feel the ground ripple underneath your feet, and you get knocked back. And when you hit the ground, the sound, the feeling is jarring, because you're expecting to land in that warm, wet flesh, but you land to the sound of a loud ringing bell, crystal clear, as an Incarnadine leans over their cart and says, "Will you fucking get out of the way? Hounds matter by the day."
I look around, like, is the
Everything's
apartment...
back.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're actually much further into the Red Queen's Way than you thought.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of like look at him and then stand up and try to like brush off some of the like the stinging in my palms from falling backwards, and I'll say, headed to the Red Market too.
That's none of your fucking business.
The track only goes in one direction.
Off the track, please.
All right.
I said please.
I'm stepping off.
Be thankful.
Always am.
And as the cart pulls forward, you see Roa reaching down and just slitting the throat of a serf who was sputtering gold and blood at them.
Is it Tuesday again?
I don't know if you've seen a lot of acts of violence from Roa, but so it's up to you if it's disturbing or not. But suddenly, yeah, you find yourself standing in front of your three fellow bafflers.
What is going on?
Oh, well, wonderful to see you. You didn't come back. Also found a dog, and
Jewel like pokes their long head out from behind Vantage and has this tongue lolling far too far back towards its neck because of how its face is just a skull.
There's no cheek pouch to keep it contained, right?
There's nothing. No, it's probably about a foot long at least when it hangs out to the side.
Hate that.
Yeah.
Like how giraffe tongues are usually all rolled up in the back of their mouths, except no self-control from this
This
guy.
dog uses 100% of the tongue.
Oh, that means when you get the tongue kisses, you're really getting the tongue kisses. Oh no.
Yeah. It like can wrap it right around your head.
I love this dog.
So
yeah.
to settle up the time differences here, Ochre, you think you've been gone from Baffling Din for about an hour tops, and so you don't really understand why they think you've been missing, because it's been 18, 20 hours since you've been gone.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just walk up to them and say, I've only just walked this far, and that's somehow enough time for a dog thing to appear and for this to happen. And I like hold my hands out to indicate
There's
Roa.
no blood. There's no blood on your hands. As you present them, there's no evidence that you had been walking in the meat market. So you kind of look at your how upsetting would it be for Ochre to be messed with like this, where you are like literally are about to present something to people that you know is there and then it's not? Is it mind stress inducing is what I'm asking.
She has to cover for herself for this happening, but it hasn't happened for a while. So maybe that's not very helpful.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I'll lean towards I always lean towards yes in that case. So I think perhaps another yeah, unfortunately it'll have to be another endure cursed.
Okay.
Endure occult. I don't know if that makes a difference for you.
I don't think that makes a difference for me.
All
right. Yeah, the only domain I have is Haven. So I rolled a 2.
Okay, well that's better than a 1. Because a 1 means double stress. So unfortunately you're going to take a single mind stress. And then you'll have to roll your d12, and I believe you have 4 stress now, so you want to roll a 5 or higher.
I rolled a 3, so...
Okay. So if you roll equal to or under your total stress, you'll receive fallout. If you if the roll is between 1 and 6, you get minor fallout, and if it's 7 or higher, you get major fallout. So I'm going to give you 2...
Hold on a sec. Because I have that new ability that let once per session reroll any dice that you or anyone else rolled. The original roll is a vision you received, and you shout a warning.
Okay, this is your one go. Yeah, I can reverse time and allow Ochre to re-roll that 1 die.
Do you want to use it for this though?
I mean, you're taking Fallout. You're already taking Fallout, and it's like if you want the Fallout, like we can go for it. But
I mean, I would say you maybe save it just because
okay.
This is getting me an even footing with Mellifera.
All right, that's cool. Go for it.
So I'll offer up 2 minor mind fallouts, and you'll choose which one works best for you. This is fun. I'll give you this one, and this one. Right. So Ochre stands in front of you, holding her hands out, and you see nothing but the kind of perfectly manicured fingernails of the most stylish hound in all of Baffling Din and beyond. But her mind seems elsewhere. So you can just discard or toss out onto the board, drag out onto the board the one you're not going to keep.
Where are the cards?
Oh, sorry. Down in the bottom left where your name is. I dealt them to you in roll 20.
Okay. Sorry. They blended very well with the,
Oh, yeah. I try and hover them over the red.
Okay, that's my bad.
So while Sharon's figuring that out, as we are, basically you have a little bit of traveling left to do, and to get to the red market. Basically one more attack on the delve in order to get there. And it seems like it's some kind of periodically the red Queen's Way, especially closer to the red market itself. Beyond the storefronts, you basically pop-up markets happen quite a bit, especially if something valuable is being transported. Then suddenly Incarnadine and various different interested parties kind of come out of the works to kind of convince the person to abandon the delivery and just start an auction. And that's what's happened. There has to be 50 or 60 red-robed figures and other folks that you recognize, as people who live in the din. And something is being held up by a bunch of serfs and being auctioned, and they're blocking the whole way. So you'll have to, at the very least, move through, if not.
How do I pick a card? Like, how do I remove it?
Just drag it. Don't worry about it. Just drag it out of your hand and onto the board, and I'll just delete it.
Okay. All right.
Like drag it into the middle here, right onto the heart.
And then I will pick Clouded for my Fallout.
All right.
Cool.
So the benefit of this method is that you can kind of role play the weirder ones without having to tell everyone necessarily what the effect is,
Okay.
So it's not a big deal, but your mind can't really focus on much other than what you've just seen, and also the idea of that happening to Baffling Din has you very clouded. Your mind very clouded.
So I guess you'll just see me like trail off while looking at my hands, and then I'll just close my eyes and start rubbing my hands all over my face. Where you're coming to the red market too, is that what you're saying?
Are you talking to the dog? Sorry.
I was just talking to everyone, like in general.
Sorry, I was saying we couldn't hear Ryan.
Consider it killing two birds with one stone. We are taking this creature to the red market, but we were also sent, I was sent to find you.
Well, I'm found.
So it would seem, are you well?
That's a relative term. So let's get to it then. There's a queen to appease and a dog to place. And why is this serf dead again?
Oh, well. Had a tongue looser than the dog's.
Want the long story or short story?
Whichever's more fun for you to tell.
Well, short story, we did not make a friend. We made the opposite of a friend. In the process of trying to do a good deed. Long story, we met an Incarnadine who had broken their chariot. And fixed it, but then there was a miscommunication among the team, and Malifera broke his very fancy thing, and
that's when
I
you see
think-
Malifera's got a bent umbrella, like busted umbrella, that hanging by their side, that is just like overflowing with like rainwater that's pouring up out from inside the umbrella all over the golden road.
I would say Malifera was very effective at communicating.
with
Thank
us.
you.
With us.
Ah, well.
We did them a
Well.
service. They, if anything, I've learned this from all of you, there was a transaction that occurred. They did not give us payment. I requested the umbrella. And I look very seriously over at Ochre. This has the sky in it. The sky does not belong in the heart.
I was going to ask what use an umbrella is in a world where there's no weather. But it makes weather here?
It has some of the sky outside. The sky outside does not belong inside.
I'm gonna go over and smell the umbrella.
I'll hand it to you. Like, I'll present it.
As you put your hand out, Malifera, the umbrella kind of unfolds, and there is just the smell of fresh, cool rain that exudes from it. Has this very ornate gilded handle that is broken in the middle and bent, kind of creates a kind of a weird bird bath kind of look.
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up and smell that, and you'll see Ochre's eyes widen as she does that. And then she kind of like her hands are like gripping the fabric portion of the umbrella, and she starts like curling into it into tight fists.
Mhm.
And she just says, "There's something going on here, and I don't know what." Malifera, is there any way you can destroy this more thoroughly?
I can certainly try. Can I? My bees, like, I let my bees at it last time, right? They literally, like, swarmed
Yeah,
on
I
it
mean,
and,
given
like-
enough time, they'll disassemble anything. So you could just hang on to it as you walk, and they'll slowly dismantle it, consuming anything that they can in order to like repurpose it back into the hive or into.
Like tiny bee legs, like unstitching things.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Waste not, want not. Everything
Yeah.
is useful to the hive.
Up ahead, you start hearing the sounds of the auction getting started, and a burly-looking Incarnadine with a huge handlebar mustache is hoisting up this really small, innocuous, like tangle of bones that have been roped together, seemingly with some kind of twine. And he says, "Friends, these are no ordinary bones. These are the finding bones, fabled artifacts of the heart. It is cruel." And he gestures down to the Incarnadine whose wagon cart he's standing on. "It is cruel for this man to not allow us all a chance at winning this fine prize. and the Incarnadine, who has this kind of like it's almost like a beanbag kind of look to their seat, that this kind of gelatinous, very cushy that forms to their shape, and they're just reclined in it with their arms crossed. Unfortunately, the rogue auctioneer has ambushed this person, and now their goods are up for grabs. And then there's this crowd of like 50, like I said, 50 or 60 different people. Most look like Incarnadine. There are a handful of just traveling folks that are heading down the way. You recognize some of your neighbors, as I said. But kind of peppered amongst the crowd are these hooded figures who are facing towards the auctioneer, but the shape of their heads is almost conical. Like you can see that the way that the robes drape over their heads, their heads come to a point, like a tent or a. You excited for cone heads there, Vantage?
Aliens.
I've forgotten. Are we selling this thing? I point to the dog.
No. Dog has an owner. It's on the collar. We're just gonna return it so we don't incur any more wrath or debt.
All right. Also, Ochre, Audacia was looking for you.
Is she ever not looking for me?
Yes, well, it was unusual that you were gone such a long time.
How long did you think I was gone?
So, the dog found me the night after you left, and it's now the next day.
Really?
Yeah. Are you all moving up towards
Yeah.
the crowd as you're walking?
Yeah, can we be having this conversation as we go?
Sure, of course. Roa, you're sort of how are you feeling after this kill? And also, sorry, was there any body looting that you wanted to do? Basically, on them is just the coins that seem to fill their bellies, that they cough up as they were demising as they died, and it amounts to about a D4 haven resource, basically, that could be spent to get rid of stress or traded for other things.
I think maybe Roa might grab it up just as like one last little bit of insult, like to take something belonging to an Incarnadine.
Perfect.
Not because Roa has a particular love of money, but just because it's a thing they can do to antagonize someone.
I'm adding a D4 Haven gut coins token to your bin over here.
Cool.
I'm gonna take this money. Not because I want this money, but because I can use it to piss someone off later.
Because someone else doesn't want me to have it. You said it was a Haven resource?
Yep, I've added it to your bin if you don't want to worry about keeping track on your sheet. They are silver with like gold flecked blood in them, and not in them, but covered them. But it's a trophy, like anything else. And as you are sort of lost in your own thoughts, Roa, you find yourself standing, as you get closer to the group, you find yourself standing beside one of these robed figures that that is sort of near the edge of the group. And it turns to look at you, and having no idea what to expect with the shape of their head, you're surprised to see that they have a book for a face. It's folded over open like this. the pages have rolled up into basically to look sort of like eyes, and a few of them have folded in to form a bit of a mouth across where the. If you can imagine what I'm describing here.
I can, and I love it.
And it looks at you with an unknowable gaze, but gives something of a friendly, or at the very least, non-aggressive nod at you, and then goes back to observing the auction.
Can I make anything else out about the book, or like any words or anything like that?
You can see that there is text on the book, on the pages of the book, but you can't read it. It looks to be just sort of floating inside the hood over whatever makes this thing's body, but you don't have. Without inciting an issue, you don't have a lot of options as to getting closer, unless you really want to try and get your face up inside of the book head.
I mean,
Is that kind of like making out with someone? Like,
Yeah, if you read their book, their Facebook, their book face.
Is that making out or like just punching someone in the mouth? But like continuing the punch.
I think
What's
I
everyone
might.
else doing?
If you
Sorry,
if
go
you
ahead.
fiddle through their pages, are you just putting your fingers in their mouth? Like,
Yeah, just don't do any of these things.
don't bother book face people, y'all.
were you gonna
Yeah.
say something, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Roa will probably mutter under their breath, loud enough for this book person to hear, but quiet enough that they can pretend they didn't want them to. It's like,
Right.
curious.
And it turns slightly towards you and says, "And curiouser still." And then looks back.
How do you come across a book such as that?
Yeah, are you referring to me?
Oh, it's the first I've seen anyone with quite this look.
Well, I've lived a storied life.
Really? And what would one of these stories be?
That's personal.
Oh, I'm sure.
But if you can survive the trip, you can come see. You can read many tales in the library categorical. You're from Baffling Din, yes?
Yes, if you can be from anywhere down here.
Everyone wears where they're from written somewhere on them. I can see it written across you.
Hmm.
And I've made a note. And his face kind of flips page. Now you're part of my tale.
Is that so?
They reach out a hand, and their hands are like origami. It's paper, book paper that has been folded into 3 fingers and a thumb. My name is Montserrat, one of the bookbinders. And your name?
Roa. Roa of Baffling Din, as you say.
Well, Roa, you seem like a person who likes to educate themselves. So, the library categorical has everything you need. You may not even want to leave once you come. I know I didn't.
Mhm. And Roa is completely torn right now. Just perhaps I will see you there.
I would like that very much, Roa Baffling Din. And they nod again. Their page in their Facebook flips as though more things are being written, and they walk head more into the crowd, and you kind of lose them amongst the chaos.
I think Roa would look at Vantage, and because I'm not sure if we were flirting.
Well, I'm just happy you didn't try to punch that one out too.
It was difficult not to.
I'm proud of you.
Well, somebody is.
As you're moving forward, a fight has started to break out. The Incarnadine, who has been robbed by the rogue auctioneer, is trying to sick their turfs on them to get the things back. And the people who are like waving, shaking bags of silver and stranger things still are getting more and more upset that they're not going to get a chance to bid on this thing. And this is like minutes away from becoming a full-blown riot.
I, the player, don't like this, but my character would totally be the one to kind of step up and say, all right, okay, everyone just hang on 1 second.
Okay. I'll get you to roll a compel Haven to kind of get everyone's attention.
My assist.
Mm-hmm. If you've got compel or Haven, you can.
Oh, let me see. Let me double check. I don't think I do. And I don't.
I do. Can I help?
Assist.
Yep. You can still participate. Vantage. You just
I'm
there's
just
no
gonna
mechanic.
look intimidating behind Ochre.
You do a really good job of it.
Thank you.
Melifarad, you would like to help?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to stand on the other side of Ochre, I guess. And just stand up very straight and be very clean and prim and proper. And await to correct anyone if anything is, like, not going as it should.
Okay.
I forget.
So
Can only one person help?
It's based on the logic of the scene. In this case, if you're contributing something, in this case, a lot of people can contribute to getting everyone's attention. So for sure, if you have something else in mind, Roa, you can do that as well, as long as you have compel or Haven.
Yeah, I have compel, and if it's okay with Ochre, maybe I let out like an almost canine howl to just like get people's attention before
in the
Ochre...
replacement of a whistle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
To like make
That's so
space,
much.
to make like auditory space for Ochre.
Okay. Yeah, that's 2 bonus dice. If you have compel and Haven, you're rolling 3 already, so you'll be rolling 5 dice.
Right, but my fallout means I can't gain extra dice for domains, so I'm going to move 1.
As soon as you just won't be adding the Haven one in. As soon as you start to get into hound mode, your brain goes back to that image of Baffling Din being warped, and your voice kind of falters a bit. You know, your voice of authority falters somewhat. So.
It's a little.
Mm-hmm. But 4 dice is still pretty good.
Yeah. 1, 2, 9, and 1. So.
All right, a 9 is
9.
what we're looking for sure.
Okay.
That's a success. What would you like to say, Ochre?
This is a very unfortunate situation, but I'm sure that if we can just take a moment, calm down a bit on both sides, we can find a way to see some order and reason in this place. There's enough death going around, enough chaos without us stirring it up for ourselves. I'm going to turn especially to the auctioneer and say, well, if we can just talk through the miscommunication which must have occurred to lead to all of this and return to someone what might be rightfully theirs, we can get through this smoothly without some more spilled blood today.
So having traveled this route a lot, you probably know this gentleman. Sorry, I'm just getting a name. I just have the thesaurus for red open here.
Sure.
So
Verminion.
yeah, exactly. His name, the auctioneer's name is Carnegie Blush, and he looks down and crosses his arms, still holding the bones, and says, "Now, Ochre, you know that I'm following the rules of our religion. I have been sanctified to be a traveling redistributioner of wealth. As you well know, the rules are slightly different in the red market from the baffling din. I don't expect that from the common baffler, but you, Ochre, walk this route fairly regularly. But I respect the long-standing tradition of the hounds, and you've pulled me out of more than one dangerous situation, so fine." He chucks the bones into the lap of the Incarnadine, and he pats them on the shoulder and says, "Move quickly now," and climbs down, and the whole kind of strange cart tilts heavily as this burly gentleman steps down, and what did I call him? Carnegie Blush?
Yeah, that's right.
Blush. It's the best name I've heard
Such a
all
good
day.
name. So
I
good.
like coming up. Heart gives you a lot of, and I thank Grant for this, Grant and Chris for this specifically. They're just like, people's names or whatever. Just slam a bunch of words together that you think are good, and that sound good together. And so, it's very freeing as a GM. He kind of makes like shooing gestures to the crowd that starts to mumble and disperse and grumble, and he comes over and he puts out his hand to shake Ochre's.
I'll gingerly take it and say,
There's a bit of like a pull towards, like he's obviously trying to show a little bit of tough guyness, but he says, but now I think maybe it may be a favor, might be called on in the future. And when he pulls his hand back, you have just a little silver coin that he's put in your hand. I'll need that back someday.
It'll be waiting for you.
And pats you on the shoulder and starts heading through the group until he stops and looks at Jewel, and he says, "This is Crowfer's dog."
We're bringing it back to him.
Bringing it back, huh? Make him
Yes.
pay through the nose. He loves this thing.
Thank you.
You're very kind today, Carnegie.
He reaches out to pet it, and Jewel kind of makes this kind of echoey growl because it bounces around in the skull a lot before it gets out. and kind of like does snips at him, and his mouth like opens too wide, and alligator chomps at him. And Blush pulls his hand back and says, "Oh yeah, through the teeth for this treasure." And then he kind of nods his head at Ochre again, and nods to the rest of the group, and just goes to look for another hustle somewhere along the Red Queen's Way. But the crowd is cleared, and normally after dealing with an event like this, I would have you roll some a die of some kind to kind of progress the delve, but you only really needed one. There's only like one resistance left, so you can't fail that roll. But Ochre, Sharon, because you haven't played yet. Basically, a delve is a series of things that happen to you, and every time you successfully deal with them by making a roll of some kind to progress your trip, you'll roll a die. The default for any action, whether you're attacking somebody, mending someone's stress, or delving, is a D4. If you are completely naked alone in the woods, you are rolling a D4 to attack things, or you're rolling a D4 to delve. If you have a piece of equipment, like Mellifera has a delve D6, so as long you can use that die instead, as long as it makes sense to the thing. The gadget that Mellifera has is more of a literal, like, detecting the direction you need to go in. It's more of a compass, so it would be more like an active use of it to do it. But if you have delve equipment that applies to the situation, then you use that die instead. But because this connection, this route has a connection already established through the treaties and various things, the reason that you're heading to the Red Queen today, that cuts the resistance required to travel that route in half. So normally it's 14, but it's only at 7. And because of your delvers, your fellow delvers' previous traveling, there was only one resistance left to knock it, which was this little howdy do. So the path clears, and you can see at the end the track kind of starts turning to the left, and then there is a station, not a full-blown Vermissian station, but more like a stop, I guess. Like a one-horse town kind of stop. That, excuse me, opens up into a densely packed kind of cavern that has all of the tents and market spaces and things. So though it is one big cavern, it is packed so densely with little shops and wagons and tents that it has the Warren domain, meaning it's cramped and narrow alleyways and different things. Think like a hookah lounge or something that's been just amplified out like 100 times, or 1,000 times. And so that's what you find at the end of the route. We've established Ochre's been to the Red Market before. Do you think that any of the rest of you have been?
I expect Roa has been, in order to collect things necessary for whatever bit of divination they've been doing.
Yeah, if it's the shopping place, anything you're looking for, you'd be able to find for the most part. So yeah, I imagine, I guess all of you would have been at least once to get stuff. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just think Vantage wouldn't have been there for like a long while. Like once we got the burial ground set up, like that's it, right? Got a shovel. Let's shovel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Also, technically don't need the shovel.
No, the graves take themselves in baffling din. So, as you make your way forward, Mellifera, you wouldn't notice because it's just business as usual, but everyone else, you can see that the bees have completely dismantled the umbrella, and they are, they have basically reduced it to its core materials. So they have wound up the threads into small little loops, and there's a bee carrying each. There's a bee for each little loop of thread, and they have like folded up the umbrella materials and into little fabric squares, and they're just marching these things all up Mellifera's arm. It's basically undoing the umbrella in their hand, pardon me, and piece by piece down to its Minecraft elements effectively. And the last march is about a dozen bees, each carrying just a single little bead of rainwater.
Did you say I don't notice this?
Well, you don't care about it.
Yeah,
in the sense
like it's
that
just them going about their business.
Yeah.
Don't hurt me. I'm sorry.
We're not gonna wax on with bee puns right now. Okay, now is not the time.
Oh, why? But they're so sweet.
I appreciate your honeyed words, but right now.
We lost Sharon.
Yep, Sharon's down for the count.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Each one is like a little sting on me, and I'm allergic. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was more thinking you are kind of a machine, and the machine doesn't know.
And my parts are doing their thing. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Sorry, I just particularly like the idea of like a little army line of bees, like doing like a little army march up with their component parts.
Carrying very like little delicate beads of rainwater. Mm-hmm. They don't have a lot, but it's more of a, they've taken enough samples just in case. Mm-hmm. Somewhere inside of you is a catalog of a series of bee-sized drawers that store all the little
it's so
elements.
organized in there. There's like little like almost like a bee IKEA furniture where like they have like all the little
IBEA, I guess. I don't know.
IBEA.
IBEA.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. Yeah.
So I'm thinking this might be a good place to take our break since we're pretty close to 3:30. Just as you step up to the Red Market, and yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, everyone, we're gonna take a break, do a hydrate, do a stretch, all those good things. Y'all should do the same. We will see you back here in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. See ya in a few. Hello, we are back. How's it going? How's your break? I hope you got up, did a stretch, got yourself a drink. We did all those awesome things. Welcome everyone who came in on the break. We're definitely up to good, definitely not doing bad things, so you came in at a good time. Hi, friends. For anyone that doesn't know, we are playing Heart. It is a bit of a dark, spooky game, so we do have content warnings, which I will put in the chat right now, because we just want everyone to stay safe and good. Yeah, and we are actually at 50% of our bar, and when we hit the top of that bar... bad things might happen. Something happens. Good things for the story. Perhaps bad things for our characters. I guess we'll see. We are trying to attempt to return a very good borzoi. I want someone made the good boy joke in chat, but they like in brackets did borzoi. Good, and that's my favorite.
Boy or Zoe.
Good boy or Zoe. I don't know.
Boy or Zoe.
It's a good skeleton dog, and we love him. And I already tweeted out that the hardest roleplay I've ever had to do in my life is the fact that I have to act like I don't love this boy so much, because I love him. I'm sorry, Jordan. Take us away.
It's okay. So I was hoping for a more subtle transition.
That was
There we
just
go.
uncanny enough.
Yeah. Right. So you're standing the kind of golden Vermisian tunnel that has been repurposed to be a sort of a transit way for the Incarnadine continues on past off to the left, and but the red market lays sort of open for you to enter. As I had mentioned before, it's lots of like red and gilded red tents and hanging cloths. Definitely like walking down the Red Queen's Way has set you up for this, but it's Red Queen's Way times a million. And there is just the constant noise of deals being made and the clanking of coin and arguments and little squabbles between various groups of gangs of serfs. And then just amongst them are non-Incarnadine folk who are here to look for materials for the things that they're doing in their daily lives, food, equipment, that kind of thing. Pretty much everything is available at the Red Market. And basically the opening to it is a single stop on the Vermisian line that has long fallen into disrepair. The Vermisian, the sign which has the V of the Vermisian has been like bent by just wear and tear and many people just moving through and leaning against it. And what's really strange is that as you move into the Red Market, the ground is just covered in carpet. Not like shag all the way, but layers of various carpet and silks of various quality make this place very comfortable to be, if a little noisy and chaotic. So Ochre, you would know if you want to head to the Red Queen, you would know how to get to Carmine. Carmine directly. The dog belongs to Rubius Crowfer, a person whose maybe a name you've heard, but is not something.
I wouldn't know his address.
No.
Particularly.
No. And the Red Market shares some of, since it is also on the second tier, it shares some of its nebulous, indistinct layout that Baffling Din has. So even if you knew where it was the last time you were here, it might not be in the same place.
Okay.
It shifts as needed. So those are your two aims right now. You have some things to deliver to the Red Queen, and then also you have Jewel to return to Ruby's Crowfer. So what would you like to do first?
I'll turn to the rest of the group and say, well, I'm a little late on my delivery, but if I'm already this late, we can probably drop off Jewel first, if that's what you would like to do.
I mean, I don't know where this Rubius is.
And we're not really expected, so.
So we could definitely take care of your delivery and then hunt down our quarry. Metaphorically speaking.
Maybe if the Queen's in a good mood today, she can give us a little bit of direction.
She should know where her subjects are, right?
Have you ever met a monarch who cares about her subjects?
I go out of my way not to meet monarchs.
Mellifera holds their hands over their hearts as if they don't want their queen to hear you. Gives you a bit of a dirty look.
I think Roa gives a bit of like a playful wink, just like a.
All right.
Getting all of our lippiness out now. Nice.
If only we could be so lucky.
I have a question. It's kind of game related, and also like I don't know if the characters have knowledge of their own character stuff. But can we see each other's harm, like when someone's stressed, when someone's like hurt and stuff like that? Can we see, like, because I know does Roa has a lot of blood stress, right? But is that something that's
Yeah.
like kind of normal for what they do, or?
No, it's definitely something that starts to show. How much blood stress have you got there, Roa?
I've got 4 blood stress.
Yeah, so you would be probably holding on. You kind of got slashed pretty bad as you dove over. So you would probably be holding on to a cut, like covering up a cut periodically. Just as it like stings, you would hold on to it.
The kind of thing that isn't going to interrupt me right now, but it's probably going to leave a bit of a scar.
Yeah, and it certainly could get worse before it gets better if you're not taking care of it. So you would see that, Mellifera.
Okay. I particularly after that insightful queen comment, I would like to go over to Roa. And can I attempt to I think I would just look them in the eye and attempt to remove their hand from the injury. May I?
Sure.
No, I'm saying this to them.
And-
I'm
I
asking
see.
them, may I? I'm asking their permission.
Of course.
So this would be roll on mend blood, right?
The injury came from
Occult.
one of the Incarnadine's serfs. So it would be a mend haven roll.
Dang it.
Well, I also have mend because I have my sticky saliva.
Helping mending yourself. If you were making the roll against yourself, it's more
It's
difficult.
risky.
Yeah. But I think you could probably help.
So I get
You
to
get-
roll with one more.
Yeah, you get 2 dice by default because you have mend,
Mhm.
and then a 3rd die from Roa using their sticky spit.
What I'm actually banking on is my sacred geometry. So hang on. Let's see. Dang it! I rolled really well.
Nuts.
I rolled a 2 and 2 9s. I was hoping one of those 9s was a 6.
So I mean, I feel like Mellifera doesn't move a whole lot, apart from just sort of drifting. The bees kind of are your limbs, right? And so you just go over towards Roa, ask if you can see the injury, and the bees kind of just head over and start looking at the situation. Their glyphs, the glyphs that mark their backs glow as they process what they're seeing, there's kind of a pheromonal scent that is sent out, and another bee comes out with some of the thread that had been taken away from the umbrella. Easily found because it was easily filed, very smartly filed away, and they start to stitch. So you can roll. You don't have any mend equipment, eh? Mend blood equipment?
Oh, that's a very good question.
I don't think you do.
I don't
which is
think I
absolutely-
do.
Which is absolutely fine, because as I said, all rolls default to a D4, regardless.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and
Yeah.
roll a D4, and that will be how much blood stress has been patched up from Roa.
Yeah, see, if I had rolled a 6 on my D10, I could have rolled
You
a
would have got
D6.
10, and
No.
yeah.
6 is a sacred number to me.
That's
That's a
the
3.
legs. All right.
Nice.
So you can knock 3 blood stress off of your track.
Yeah,
And-
and Mellifera's just like, our queen cares.
I stand corrected.
Can I get a kind of gross description of how you seal it up with your sticky spit, Roa?
I think, yeah. After Mellifera's done their work, Roa just kind of like reaches in and kind of caressing their own tongue, just gathering more spit like onto their hand, and they kind of roll it together. Like if you imagine, if you've got like glue on your hands, you start like rubbing it together until it gets kind of tacky, and then just like laying that on top of the wound and spraying out kind of like a salve or something like that.
Nice. Ochre, you're finding it hard to concentrate here as you head down into this like stew of people. But Vantage, you're keen-eyed as always, and as Mellifera and Roa finish patching Roa up, you recognize sort of like sharks in the red sea of robes and fabric down here that there are 4 or 5 figures moving through the crowd, heading directly for your group.
Oh, we're about to have company.
Pleasant or
Find
not?
out.
Yeah.
And you see as they get closer the bald heads of serfs, and the top of their heads have a tattoo that shares the banner of Boswell Pink, whose rainbrella was broken.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Recognize him?
Remember them folk that you found us having had our negative interaction with? This seems like more of them.
Yeah, and Ochre's just gonna sigh a little. Like, it's good to be warned.
Look, they wrote our name in a book, and I typically don't like that very much.
I think in the time frame of things, Roa and Mellifera, you don't really know. You're already kind of down in the group, so I'm gonna say that it's mainly Vantage and Ochre, and I'm trying to give Vantage an opportunity here. So yeah, basically you say that to Ochre, and you look, and the serfs are almost on Roa.
Right.
And
I'm gonna...
it's sort of like the what are they called, the Witch Kings or whatever from Lord of the Rings. There you can see silvered blades like lift up from the crowd, like they're all
Ring
going to
wraiths?
descend down. Ring wraiths, that's right. Are all about to bring their blades down on Roa at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go stop these rewrites. How should I? Yeah, I'm gonna just. What I want to do is like slide in between. Put my hands up to
Right.
like grab some wrists.
Mhm.
Sure.
I'll need you to roll an Endure Haven roll to kind of infiltrate your way in and just get in between them.
So I have Endure. Click it over here. Click it over.
Oh, sorry, Endure Religion. My bad.
Perfect. Beautiful. I can do that. That's then gonna be 2d6, yeah?
Do you have Endure?
Yes.
Okay, so it's actually 3d10.
3d10.
Yeah, even better.
I forgot how to play this game.
If you roll d6, you fail almost all the time.
Yeah, right. D10s.
It's A-okay,
No
it's
idea
only
what
our
I'm
second session.
Yeah. Alright, so that's a 10, a 9, and a 5.
All right,
Ooh.
A 10 is a critical success. Let me just double check what this means if it has an application to. I don't think it does. Okay, yeah, no, it would increase your outgoing stress die by 1, but you're not doing any stress. You're just trying to avoid getting hurt at this point. But yeah, I'm gonna say maybe you go like half corporeal to move a little faster, if you'd like to have like a chance to kind of show off a little bit of those abilities.
That's cool.
Yeah, you sort of step outside yourself briefly, the world graying around you, and then suddenly you're standing in front of Roa, and you've just put out your hands to grab onto some of the knives that are coming to stab at the witch, and one of the serfs says, "We have to collect what's owed."
This isn't the right time, friends. There's always a right time to collect the debt. And right here, in the middle of everything, we're on the way to see the queen. It's not the right time. That looks bad. And you wouldn't want to bring ill repute to your master.
What we need to bring to our master is this one's blood.
You wouldn't want to also bring ill.
I'll need you to make a compel religion roll.
Yikes. Okay, so I only have religion. So
that'll be 2 dice.
2 dice. Gotcha.
Roa, you're in the mix now. If there is something you think you could do to
I'm probably too far out to help, though, right? Like, I'm just catching
Yeah,
up.
Vantage has moved really fast, and Sam's already rolled, so we're at where we're at.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's an 8 and a 5.
All right, that's still a success. I will be back. We're not going to spill blood on the ground of the Red Market today.
I appreciate that.
Do your business and leave. I will tell my master that we did not find you. That is the last lie I will tell for you. And they look at Roa, and this, like, they grin, and they have this, like, janky fence tooth mouth of just various golden bits, not formed into teeth, but just into, like, little golden chunks that have been honed as straight as possible. And they smile, and they spit, and a silver coin just, like, lands at your feet. 6 liters, which...
I assure you, you'll be sorely disappointed with my blood.
And then, with a snap of their fingers, the serfs all kind of melt back into the crowd.
Maybe you should see if you could do like a layaway plan.
Yes, I'll make an appointment with their accountant. So how many times is that, Vantage, that you saved me?
I'm not keeping score.
Of course not. I feel like this comes up every time that we play poker. While we have our philosophical debates.
Yeah.
Remember that time?
Ochre, your mind being just kind of distracted, you're looking around to see if there's anyone that you recognize, to try and just anchor yourself a little bit more. And there is a big one of your friends and allies here. He's not a member of the hounds, but he assists quite a bit, especially on longer outings. Is a big Vermisian knight, a gnoll by the name of Cletus. And he's hard to miss because the Vermisian armor that he wears basically like doubles him in size. They're like Space Marine armor, almost. They're just big, and they're made out of course, scrapped together chunks of the Vermisian, the trains, the rail. He has a drill that kind of straps to his back that he uses as a weapon, but he's sort of just lingering further in, sort of into the closest it has to a market square. It's the slightly bigger area with a fountain of a golden kind of gold tinged water that's like it has got gold flakes in it, that kind of is sort of a gathering place for folks to meet. So you do have an ally here, should you need. And there's various hounds that answer to you around as well. You can spot them all with their familiar World War I doughboy type helmets.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So sorry, just trying to like remember the scene. So as far as I'm concerned, Vantage ran off, and I sort of lost track of her because I'm a little befuddled.
Yeah,
But yeah.
You probably only saw the end of it. You heard Vantage say what they said, and that you snapped out of it at that point, I think, and realized that something just narrowly happened to Roa, but you don't know.
Okay. All right. So then I'm going to head over to Cletus and say, Cletus, so good to see you.
Ochre, I was expecting you yesterday.
So was I.
Everything all right?
Been better, but it's not important now.
Well, he pulls down a pair of goggles that have been on his head, and the gnolls in the city above are at war with Spire and the Aelfir, but down here, that doesn't come up. But a lot of them also have come from their homeland to adventure into the heart, because though the Aelfir have a lot of propaganda about how they are dangerous, bestial creatures that want nothing but blood and violence, they're actually incredibly talented with technology and are master tinkerers. And so he pulls down these obviously gnollish made goggles, and just without any touching, the lenses on them kind of shift around, and he's looking you sort of up and down. A kind of concerned look, as much as a dog-faced man can have, goes across Cletus's face, and he says, "Are you sure you're feeling well?" Oh, no, you said you weren't.
Well, I mean, I've been better.
Right.
Don't know if there's any easy fix for that right now, though.
Well, I think maybe a drink's in order. And he reaches in to a compartment and pulls out a little bit of a flask.
There's a big wash of relief over her face. She says, "Yes, please, thank you."
So if he looks at you and says, well, I mean, we are in the red market, Ochre. I'll trade you the whole thing, but so I'm giving you an opportunity here to get rid of your mind fallout if you like.
Yes.
So the way it works is you have to find someone or something that is willing to trade for this. So technically, the red market doesn't have a mind curing place, but I figure this is a man who likes his whiskey probably. And drinking is a strangely a common way to get rid of your mental woes. So in the heart. So if you were trading just to get rid of stress, you would give over you would give over a resource of some kind, and then you would roll the dice of that resource to remove that much stress. When you're getting rid of fallout, you still have to give over resources, but to get rid of a minor fallout, it has to be a D6 resource or better. And to reduce a major fallout to a minor fallout, it's a D8. And instead of rolling, it's just a straight exchange.
Okay.
So this flask is, you know that Cletus has the good stuff, and you know he is a Vermisian knight, and he spends all of his time traveling. So he's been to places that you can't even imagine. So it's a D6. You know that this is an exchange of a D6 for sure. So I don't know what you have in your pockets or what you might want to.
Ironically, I think the only resource I have is a bottle of rot gut liquor.
Oh. So booze for booze doesn't.
Booze for booze,
sense.
Yeah.
He hands it to you after you are kind of like patting your pockets down, and he says, "Look, you look like a mess, so enjoy."
You're a good friend, Cletus.
Next one's on you.
Yeah, whenever you can make it down to Baffling Den next.
Well, I know what we can do. So I can introduce one of your other resistances, which is your supplies resistance. You technically do have things on you. So you have money and packs and all this kind of stuff. As you described, you pack things up. It's all rolled into your supply resistance. So what I'll have you do instead of spending a resource is just take D6 supply stress. You scrape together what you can to offer up to we offer up to Cletus, and it starts to pile up until suddenly you need to fix that. So I'll roll a D6 supply stress for you, and that's a 2, so it's not too bad.
Great.
So you can remove your fallout, and you drink some of. You've been living with the rot gut liquor for a little while, so this. Very smooth bourbon is soothing to you. So you can get rid of your fallout and mark 2 supply stress, and then you'll have to roll a d12 as well.
Okay. I rolled a 5, so that is, I assume, going to be some supply fallout.
What is your total?
5 right now.
Okay, then yeah, that is some supply fallout. And I'll work that out. That's something that can sneak up on you in a bit. Okay. So you're now in the thick of you're all now in the thick of the red market, and you are you've got 2 tasks ahead. So you were thinking of the Red Queen first?
Yeah, I think so. So now that I'm level-headed enough to relocate my crew. I'll approach them. Vantage Roa, everything okay?
For now.
Business as usual.
All right. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
That is generally how we operate.
Yeah, we're not even living day to day. It's just every 5 minutes. But with that in mind, let's go find another queen that we owe some tribute to.
So the Red Queen, the Red Market has historically has not had anyone leading it. Incarnadine just show up. A shop is made available for them, or is just kind of created out of thin air. There's meeting places and all this kind of stuff, but it's autonomous in the sense that it kind of just runs itself, or at least usually does. But the Red Queen, also known as Carmine Hypatia, has decided to try and organize it a little bit, specifically under her watchful eye. the Red Queen is more of a moniker that has been given to her by others. It is not something that necessarily she refers to herself. You can't give yourself your own cool nickname. That's just not how it works. But she certainly won't get upset. Doesn't get upset when people refer to her as the Red Queen. But, out of being polite or whatever, she never acknowledges it herself, because that's just how other people perceive her. But Malifera, you know the Red Queen because she has another apiarist in her employ. In the same way that you prune and maintain Baffling Din, she wanted to have a permanent, stable home in the Red Market so that anyone could find her. And so the apiarist uses similar but modified technology to kind of keep the Red Queen's domain stable. This apiarist just has a number, as a lot of apiarists do, and the apiarist is known only as Hive 437, and is usually at the Red Queen's side. Just to give you some more details. Did I say 437?
I have made a note.
Yes.
437.
I imagine that they probably write everything in base 6, though.
Yeah, I don't have.
Oh no, I couldn't figure that out right now.
I'm not going to. I can't do that. Just thinking about what that means has halted my brain.
Hive error code 404.
Yeah, exactly. The big as you move through, and Ochre, you can lead everyone easily to where the Red Queen's court is. Cletus puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Be careful out there, all right?"
I usually am.
And if you can slap a couple of the hounds around here into shape, I would certainly enjoy not having to do everything myself. He yells really loud.
Why? They've been causing trouble?
Yeah, it seems that while Ochre's away, they, they just kind of get lost, I think. I've had to, what's the word? Rustle them out of a few dens of vice, around here. I know the go-in is tough, but they've got work to do. It's just if you see one.
If I come across one, I'll have a word with them. Special favor to you. Do you want me to tell them that you've been whispering in my ear?
Well, if you could tell them to, pay a little more attention to their old pal Cletus, I think things will go mighty smoother around here. Sorry, my cat is under my desk trying to steal all of my things off of my, pull all of my things off of my desk. Hey, come this way.
She's just doing her job.
You can't, because you're stuck on all the wires. I'm trying to, I want her to come up here, but it doesn't matter. It's not important. We're live right now. So, so the Red Queen's Court is a, sort of a podium, or like a, what are those called? Coliseum type thing, with seating and things around. It's not huge, but she has a kind of sort of a throne, like a seat in the center that has a bunch of other smaller thrones that kind of like seats that kind of sprout out of it for when she's speaking to other people or for her courtiers and things. And it's just because it's been stabilized and made into sort of this bigger space, it's sort of become a place to just linger and take a break. So there are some Incarnadine and just it's mostly just common folk that come to sit here because it's out of the chaos of the market itself. And for most, she has basically office hours every day where she is sitting there answering petty squabbles and making making calls, breaking ties on arguments, and that kind of thing. Okay, Frankie, you gotta get out from underneath there because you're pulling everything off the table. And you're gonna strangle yourself, which isn't good. Get out. Yeah.
Petty squabble is definitely a squibble. I agree.
Yeah. Squibbles and squabbles, etc.
Do you have any treats for Frankie? Have you considered this method?
She's had her treats for today, but...
I saw a tail! Just, put them on the seat, and then...
There we go! There we go! Cat cam.
This is
The most important part of the show.
Oh no!
Hey!
I mean, yay, thank you!
Mysterious... I don't think we got a name, but, we've reached...
Wow, we have
our intrusion goal.
Okay. You're about to take a step down. Sort of the stone steps. It's all still draped in finery and carpets and rugs and things. When there isn't a knock, but a door just literally materializes out of nowhere. And I know that it seems like I'm just copping out here, but there's lore to back this up. So the door itself looks like a very rustic wooden inn door, and it has like metal binds on it, and there is a sort of like a wreath of like natural like dried greenery that is hanging on it, sort of like an autumnal kind of thing. And the door swings open, and a drow in hunting gear with a massive long rifle on their back is like thrown out onto the steps in front of you, Ochre. And then a surprisingly small looking woman leans out and says, "Don't come back. Your membership's revoked." And the door slams shut and then sort of just like collapses onto itself and out of the nowhere. And the drow looks up and says, "Well, I don't need you anyway." And starts like getting up and dusting themselves off. "Where the hell am I? Who are you?"
I am, you can call me Ochre of Baffling Din. Where do you think you are?
See a lot of bloody Incarnadines. I think I must have fallen somewhere into the red market.
You didn't need me to answer your question for you then.
Well, I needed a second to look around. I wasn't expecting to be here today.
Where did you start today?
I was in the Grindle Hunting Club. Then I couldn't find the cash to pay for my bill, and suddenly I'm out on my ass. There's a murmur coming from the court, the people sort of closest to the queen, and you suddenly remember that weaponry of that scale shouldn't really be on display here. And he has like a massively long hunting rifle on his back that could easily put one between the queen's eyes without a second thought. He doesn't have it out, but there are some alarms that are starting to set off. And you look over, and a hound who was sort of had a tin lunchbox beside them and was in the middle of eating their lunch, looks over at you and just goes like this. Like, get him out of here.
I am going to go and try to make like the most polite elbow grab possible.
No!
Don't
Don't touch me. I don't know where you've been. Just point me into the direction of the wilderness.
Well, if you'll follow me, and I kind of like turn around and like indicate the exit.
He says, this just looks like more market to me.
Well, you'll have to follow it for some time. We're in the heart of the market right now.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Your weapon is a little large to be allowed here.
Well, I'm sorry that everyone is jealous.
Well, I think we should probably make haste with our exit unless you want to... We want their jealousy to overcome their senses. So,
you do know of... There are many different ways out of the red market, but you're not sure about wilderness so much, but you do.
Like the specific kind of. Okay, I see.
Well, yeah. He's looking for somewhere to hunt,
right?
Because that's what he knows, and you know that the route to the Temple of Sagacity, which is one of the temples of the moon beneath, is an overgrown kind of route, so you can try and convince him to head in that direction. But I'll need a compel wild roll to get him to buzz off.
Okay. Well, I have compel, so that's 2 dice, right?
Mm-hmm. Is this far away from the rest of us?
You were following Ochre down but you're right behind.
Okay.
All right. I got an 8 and a 10, so.
Oh, all right. He snaps his fingers and right. It's all coming back to me now. I just need to find my way to the Ramble, which is what the name of the connection between the two is. I'm less inclined to listen to the sages of the temple talk, but maybe I can make camp somewhere between here and there. Thanks for your help, Hound.
All good fortune to you.
Make sure,
faster.
If the Salvacious Grindle Hunting Club offers you a membership, just say no. It comes with hidden fees.
That's why you've got to read your contracts, friend.
Reading. And he,
eye
contact.
Make the eye contact.
He straightens out, completely unawares of the people, a couple of other hounds that have been making their way around the outside towards, and they're just and he just starts to march up. And as he's walking by, there are people trying to sell him things, and he's just no, I don't have any money. If I had any money, I would be in this predicament. Nope. You didn't ask a name.
Dang it! I was this whole time I've been
Well, he passes by you.
If you want to ask a name, Ochre's probably too oh gosh, it's not dead.
Did you want to ask as he passes by?
I'm trying to think if I'm interested. I, as a human person, am interested. I'm trying to figure out if Mellifera cares enough to get his name. I guess it's interesting enough that they might want to know for later.
So now I need
your name, sir. You just the gentleman who appeared through the door randomly.
I'm sorry, are you speaking to me?
Yes, your name. What is your name?
It's a good question.
You even had warning! I asked you in the Zoom chat.
I know, and I thought I had one, but I
The heart is just already getting into this guy's head.
He's had a very bad day.
Oh my god, that's why I need to know. It's no good, very bad day. I want to know.
It's also Ochre's no good, very bad day.
Yeah, seriously.
He looks you up and down and he says, Clifford Spray, Master Hunter, former member of the Salvacious Grindle Hunting Club.
And if that was what you did, what will you do now?
Well, a hunter is going to hunt. I don't need the membership. It's just a convenience.
I'm interested in your story. Thank you for your name. I'm gonna turn and walk away now. That's it, I'm done. That's all I wanted to know.
Wait, beekeeper, what's your name? It's only fair.
Oh, we are known as Mellifera.
I understand.
Do you now? That is good. Continue to do so. And I will turn and walk away.
They, Spray just looks at you, and scratches their head and just turns on the heel and starts heading up. Just rebuffing people trying to sell things to them, the whole way. All right. That was our first door. There's a booming voice from the center of the room, and Ochre and the Red Queen addresses Ochre and says, "That was a close one."
They all seem to be close nowadays, don't they?
I could usually depend on you to make sure that no strangers sneak through. Although, I think this one maybe isn't really your fault. We weren't expecting that person to arrive, I suppose. You had no way of knowing. I'm sure if you had a way of knowing Ochre, you would have planned for it. That is your way.
That is what I try for.
Well, come close. Let's get the ceremonious part done.
Right. And I'll step forward with it and take the bag that's slung over my shoulder and open it up with and lay out all of the tributes that I had brought. Is there like just the floor, or is there a table?
Yeah, there's like a platform sort of that's off the side of her, like on the arm of her seat that you could probably put stuff on, sort of like an arm table.
Okay, and I lay it out not just willy-nilly, but very perfectly framed and aesthetically pleasing. You know, like the perfect Instagram flat lay.
Right. She leans casually over towards and peruses through and says, "Ah, more honey.
It's what we do best."
Luckily, my seems to really fuel the engine that is my serfs, so I'm not upset." And she kind of like just gestures over, and a couple of bald figures come up and just grab onto the honey, and you can hear them like already unscrewing the lid and disappearing into the darkness again. And she says, "Who are your friends? You usually come alone."
I was lonely this time, so I would like to introduce you to one of our most senior deep apiarists, Mellifera.
"Oh, I have one of those too." And she puts up a hand, and this waxen looking thin sort of any features that would have said what they look like beforehand have sort of been worn away, and there's almost sort of a like a geometric kind of angle to their features. They don't have any ears anymore. It's just a hole for bees to go in and out of, and they just come over. It's solid black eyes look over at their solid black eyes look over at you, Mellifera. But they're wordless.
Yes, we have heard of them. All are known to the Hive.
The heart that contains the queen of Hive 437 has its window like almost painted over, or seems to have formed over with some kind of opaque, so you can't see the queen inside anymore.
Gasp. What if the queen wants a view of the world? How dare. Sorry. That's out of character.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. That was...
I have an answer for you, but if you're not saying it out loud, that's fine.
Yeah, no. You... Am I closer to the... Can I make sure I'm closer?
I'm assuming you're all standing up. Yeah.
But I want to make sure I'm closer to the other apiarist.
Sure. You can move there with your feet.
Wow, web captioner.
Oh no.
Oh no. Hey, we've all been there. We've all been there. I had to deal with an April PP arrest just this year.
April was a bad month for us all.
Yeah, it was a bad month for
That's
people
true.
who had
April
PP.
was a terrible, terrible month. I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard to enunciate apiarist. And like, yes, thank you. Yes, I just want to make sure I'm closer to the apiarist than the queen or anyone else. Like, that's who I want to stand closest to. And if it's possible to speak more directly to them, I do want to inquire. Your queen, and I will like kind of motion specifically not to the red queen, but to their hive queen. Is she all right in there?
The queen of Hive 437 has acquired a aversion to bright light.
Ah. You do a good service then to give her favorable habitat. And your other queen?
The one that after responding, one of their bees kind of flies out of the ear port and lands near your ear and says, just to you, whispers in your ear, eyes, a gift from the heart. And then climbs in through you and out from another side and just bristles through you and heads back.
How do my bees feel about this?
They don't have time to like they go into alert mode, I guess, to try and clear out this other bee, but it's gone before. Roa and Vantage.
Take a step back. This seems rude.
What are you doing? What are you doing right now in the presence of the great and terrible Red Queen, who seems to be just enjoying of her position of power and chatting with Ochre? She has a very casual air.
I mean, do you guys want to be introduced? I was going to introduce you guys
Well,
next.
that's right.
Yeah, I was waiting for being introduced.
Yeah.
And watching this thing that just happened to Mellifera, like...
I would say that the main conversation you maybe overheard, but the little encounter with the other bee,
The tiny bee. You didn't see.
is
But
just-
you would have seen, because
Alert
Mellifera
bees.
is usually extremely composed, and they would have like kind of shaken and backed up a little bit from that. Which is, Not, those are my ear ports. Get out.
Airport security is on full alert. Sorry.
That's so good.
It's like an ESA, right?
Yeah, so I suppose, when their conversation seems concluded, I would continue making
Sure.
introductions. This is Vantage. They're the master of the graveyard.
Do you
Then
have
tip my hat.
do you have a lot of dead in Baffling Din?
I'd say a normal amount.
Normal for me and normal for you may be different.
Normal for baffling them.
There. And this feral creature, she looks over at Roa.
Well, Roa is a reader of events, and sometimes they take action to make sure those events happen, or to make sure they don't.
Well, it's a good look on you, Roa. I do like whatever is happening.
It's
Work in
been an
progress.
adjustment. Yes. It's a nice way of putting it. But I'm house trained, I assure you.
We have a lot of carpet. It would be difficult to clean up. And she chuckles.
Quick like question about lore.
Mhm.
Does the Red Queen have anything to do with witches?
This one does not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons she doesn't use the name herself. Because it does have a tie to the witches of Hallow and some other things. Usually the leader of the witches there would be referred to as the Red Queen.
Okay.
So that's another reason she doesn't want to, what's the word?
Formally adopt the.
Yeah. She
The
doesn't want
title?
to steal it from and bring the ire of the witches.
Okay.
Good question. Well, enjoy your time here in the Red Market. I hope that no one has been giving you any trouble.
While we're here, can I just get a sense for how this Red Queen feels about us being here? Because I have the old blood, so I can observe someone for a few seconds and read their aura and discern their surface level emotions.
She has the casual smugness of someone who knows that she's untouchable. And so she talks to everyone like they're friends because she knows that you don't see it, but you assume that this place is just bristling with people ready to murder anyone who tries anything. And so she acts like everyone is a pal. If she is faking her genuineness, she's very good at it. But
Okay.
she's not upset that you're here. Vantage?
Dress.
I missed that. You were kind of cut out the first part.
Sorry. What would be the mode of address for a
Person in this, in her position. Like she's not a Your Majesty situation.
She's Ochre would refer to her as Carmine, her first name. Again, she is a leader, but the name the Red Queen was given to her by others.
Yeah.
So yeah, you would
Right.
just know her as Carmine or Madam Hypatia if you want.
Yeah, like Madam Hypatia. Madam Hypatia, a second thing brings us to your wonderful abode.
Rubius Crowther's dog got lost again. I can see.
Thank you. I was gonna ask if you knew of his residence so we could return his lost property.
Well, he has the unsavory job of running the inn here for the occasional person who decides that they wish to stay the night or a prolonged amount of time. I mean, to say he runs it, I mean that he spends most of his time, drinking with the patrons. But I'm sure Ochre has been to the inn at least once. Maybe not having met Rubius, but
I'm familiar.
That jewel, it just seems to escape every chance that they get.
They're a good dog.
Yes, but there's nothing rattling around in that skull of theirs. You can see.
Yeah.
Clean ear to ear. She chuckles again.
Can we shine a light on it to make
It's like
sure?
a flashlight.
Yeah.
Maybe not here. Maybe we'll do that when we leave. Alright, well, thank you so much.
Stay safe. If anyone gives you a difficult time, make sure you drop my name.
It's a delicious name to drop. Thank you.
Everyone's flirting with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
So we're heading over to the inn, and maybe on the way, pulling out a torch and
Just checking. Just
making
now we're
sure.
curious.
Yeah. You just shine a light through. You've got maybe like a simple flashlight kind of thing, Ochre, and you just put a light through one side of the skull, and it just comes out the other. And Jewel just sits there with their tongue hanging out, lolling to one side.
Yeah.
Absolutely no blockage whatsoever.
We could do some shadow puppet theater this way.
I wasn't really expecting that to be literal for some reason.
Extra storage, really. You just put a walnut up there as a So,
Don't worry, dog. You're in good company.
as you're moving through,
I mean, I keep very little inside my own head personally.
It's just not a very secure storage option, right?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of wasted space otherwise, and they motion to their whole body, which has, like, bits and pieces full of bees.
You have to travel through a good part of the Red Market in order to get to where the inn is. And Ochre, you're spending a lot of time just asking directions, because where it is today is different from where it is tomorrow. But Mellifera, your bees, the bees that are you, they remain agitated basically for the rest, like for this whole trip. Something was very wrong with the bee that visited,
Can I who had the light? Who had the flashlight?
Ochre.
Mellifera's gonna go over to Ochre and excuse me. Ochre, would you mind doing me a favor and just taking a look? One of the bees from that ape arrests, it came over to speak to me in my hive. I feel a little off.
Do you think this infiltrating bee left something behind?
We don't know, but they did not seem well, and we would not like for our hive to fall ill.
I would love to help. I am not sure if I can inspect you as well as your own bees can, but like out of character is Mellifera asking for me to
I was just asking you to
shine
flash the
flashlight.
torch in my ear.
See if it comes out clean.
Yeah, see if it's a nice clean passage, or if
Or if,
if it's been gunked up with anything. And they'll make sort of a motion to invite all the bees that are inside the ear ports currently to exit.
I'll
to,
check
like,
for some
to
plaque
clear.
buildup, I suppose.
Yeah, we're checking.
So, the inside of Mellifera's head is like a cross between Grand Central Station and and a cathedral, just at a very small size, where the bees are, there isn't, like, it's a normal sized human head, so there's maybe room for a dozen bees to do things, but all along where the scaffolding of the cathedral type shape, there are these blue glyphs that glow in the same way that the glyphs on the back of the bees, and they kind of pulse in patterns. This is still Mellifera's mind. It's just been reconfigured into a more convenient shape for the bees. And so there is basically just an open platform inside where the bees will assemble things or disassemble things. And as you flash your light in, Ochre, you see that there is this red pulsing chunk of flesh that had obviously been deposited by the bee. It beats in time with the pulse, right now, and you have you immediately start to have memories back to the strange vision that you had at the beginning of this story. The bees normally fly in hexagonal kind of patterns as they're calculating and Mellifera's processing the things that they see. But right now they crawl around the outside walls of the cathedral, wary of what's pulsing in the middle. But Mellifera, there's only one real way for the bees to process what they're looking at, since they cannot see.
Yep.
See the same way that others.
They have to eat it.
They do.
And take it out. Cool. Yeah, I know what you're getting at. I know what you're saying. Jordan, these bees have to eat this thing inside of my head. And then come and, like, bee puke it out, as bees do.
They basically they eat it, and that downloads it into your system, and then that processes it.
I do not like this. I don't Ochre, did you see anything?
It's going to step back. Has Ochre ever looked inside a head before? Well, any head, and then a deep apiarist head.
I don't. Maybe you've
friends.
I would say you've probably done it more than once with the hounds, because all of my friends with kids, with the pups, I mean, because all of my friends with kids have had to check to see if their kids have stuffed weird crap into their ears and noses. So you've probably looked for peas and things that have gotten stuck in the younger pups.
Sure.
But
Children.
yeah.
So I know what to expect in a normal quote unquote head.
Yeah, and you would know just being, friends with Mellifera for a while and knowing T-Daedrus that they aren't built like people. So.
Right.
Yes. We would have told you that it should be a mostly clear pathway.
Okay. All right.
For efficiency, you see.
Right. Why have extra tunnels and hallways where you don't need that?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Quickest path in and out, at all times.
Well, I can see that your head is normally meticulously clear, but I see something small, red, and pulsing in the middle of the base.
That is not ideal.
I assume it's not intended to be there.
No, that is not part of us. And I suppose I will have to ask them to remove it, but I do not know if they can do so without... If we can remove it without consuming it in its entirety. I'd rather we not?
I'm afraid if you want to ask someone to stick a piece of wire in there, I'm not the person for that.
We had
Could
not
they,
considered that, but that is not unideal.
Could they roll it out and then we can just help you remove it, or is it something that looks like it's lodged?
Our only way of truly taking apart and moving things, whether it be part of us or not, is to consume it.
Okay.
I'll simply ask them. We will try and do it as quick as possible and hopefully not.
I mean, I'm gonna just start looking if I have a wire or something.
Do you have an earwax scraper or something?
Please stab me through the head, please. We're good friends. Just please
Just establish there's nothing there.
I promise you, it's a clear path. It's a straight shot. Just throw something in.
We need just
Something
one
from the
of
umbrella.
COVID Q-tips.
Oh no!
The umbrella would have some wire that would have been folded up and stored. So,
ear floss. Like a cartoon.
I mean, if the bees can help me thread it through, I'm sure we could get it out without it endangering your hive further. You do seem agitated.
We do not like this at all.
I'll need you to make a endure cursed roll, Melifera, as this thing plagues your mind. You want it out. You want to know what it is, and you want it out really bad.
Yep.
So, because action hasn't been taken yet, I'm going to get you to roll.
I have neither of those things.
Okay.
Yo.
So
Cool.
roll one die.
Yeah. I've got this one die here. This one sad die.
If this doesn't work, I can use my ability to help you re-roll.
Okay. I mean, honestly, they can chew it and put it out, and I think that's what might come down to. I just have a bad feeling. Nope. I rolled a 5. Not even
5?
a 6.
Ooh, that's 6 mind stress. As the longer it sits in there and you don't know it and you don't control it,
It doesn't belong.
So I need you to
does-
roll.
Oh.
I need you to roll your d12 against your total to see if you get any fallout from this, and then
Don't like
Something-
it. Don't like it. Don't like it.
something will need to be done.
Oh man. Oh gosh, dang. Okay.
I guess, out of character, if it's doing this much harm this quickly, you probably should just eat it. Instead of
Yeah.
us quibbling over wires.
Yeah, I think I should just let them remove it. I rolled a... What did I want to roll?
Well, what's your
I rolled-
total stress?
My total stress of everything I have?
Yeah, your sheet should calculate it for you.
Oh yeah, it's 6. Yeah, okay.
And what did you roll?
Because I cleared that last one. I rolled 9.
Okay. No stress. No fallout, pardon me.
Okay.
And I'll remind you that as a deep apiarist, the only way you can get rid of mind stress
Yeah.
is it clears at the end of every
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, madness flows out through the hive.
Yep.
Okay, so we will simply I'll shake everyone away and take a step back and just we need to remove this. It does not belong. And all the bees that I asked to exit, I'll ask them to fly back in, just whoop, zoop, and go dive bombing back into my head. and remove it.
It's rare that you have to tell them what to do because they just sort of intuitively know, but you have to kind of override and force them to head towards this lump in the middle of your head. They descend on it and start to pull it apart. Small bites, mandibles pulling at little chunks. Ochre, are you watching the whole time?
I was actually gonna say we're still meandering towards the inn, right? We're
Yeah.
in the streets.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
just stopped on the side of the road.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have like tried to push you a little bit into an alleyway so you have a little bit more privacy
Sure.
at this time. But I guess I'll watch.
Bear with
Mellifera
us.
is on auto B pilot now, so if you move them, they would not even notice. They're kind of like outside themselves.
So yeah, you watch the bees sort of tear the meat, the flesh apart, and unwind it sinew by sinew and try and figure out how to organize it. The chunks, instead of being the uniform chunks that the bees are very keen at doing, are erratic. Sometimes they take two and bundle them together and with the sinew, and sometimes they just like tear a piece off and throw it just aside. They don't know what to do with this. And then at the center, at the core of this little meat apple, is a polished white tooth that sinks, once it's been cleared, it rights itself and then just kind of burrows down into the wax floor of Mellifera's in the inside of Mellifera's mind, and then is gone.
So they didn't even get it out?
It's clear of the meat.
But
And-
it went down into my wax?
The bees kind of hesitate, and they kind of freeze like they did when the dog first arrived. And for the second time in a situation where it never happens, they're waiting for your orders. What do you want to do? What do you want them to do with the meat? File it away?
No!
Or dispose of it?
Dispose of it. That's... what where?
Okay. So they start picking up the chunks, and instead of marching down your arm, they fly out, and they just start finding places to throw.
Yeah.
They just drop it. No pattern, no structure.
I definitely give them the order that this is like real bees do, that this is bad for the hive, and it needs to get,
I will say, Mellifera,
away.
you do not know about the tooth unless Ochre tells you. Because you can't see.
Oh, jeez. I'll say, wait, where did that tooth go?
What tooth? We are removing all the tainted meat that somehow made its way into us.
I can't see it anymore. There was a tooth inside the meat and...
A tooth?
Where did it go? Can you find it?
I'll ask the bees to go locate this tooth!
They climb in and around and all over, go through every chamber that they have created inside of you, and there is no, the bee scouting party does not report back any tooth.
Are you certain this is something you saw, Ochre? We seem to have cleared out the problem.
Well, that's certainly a question. I am as certain of it as I'm certain that I saw the meat earlier. Is it invasive for me to ask if you could open up your neck?
If we were given enough time, it's not impossible. but perhaps not at this moment. It takes us some many hours to take ourselves apart and put ourselves back together again.
Even a small modification, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
going
even
to
if-
like look back at like the street that we just stepped away from. Like, yeah, perhaps when we're back in Bafflington.
Yes, this is...
Mellifera, I don't want to be rude, but there's something weird about that other apiarist, right? With like the thing.
Yes. It's very unusual.
Just I don't know. Keep an eye on your queen.
Yes.
Should we maybe go and learn more about this other deep apiarist?
Well, would it not seem odd for us to return immediately back, perhaps continuing on our way? And
We still have Jewel.
You are, as you come out of the alley, you realize that you're only a few steps away from the Crowfer Inn, and there is this has more of a structure than some. It's not just tent. It's sort of tents that have been reinforced with more kind of wooden structure, and it's got two big swinging saloon doors on the front, and Incarnadine stumbles out backwards with their hands up and says, "Now listen, friend, you don't want to do that." And a heavily armed drow with a shotgun says, "You took something from me, so I'm going to take something back." And they just fire the shotgun right into the chest of the Incarnadine. And the Incarnadine starts to almost bloat and starts to laugh as their abdomen starts to expand somewhat. And they say, "You really shouldn't have done that." And then the Incarnadine explodes in a splatter of gore across all of the market stalls. The sound of people talking and selling stops just for a blink, and then goes back to normal. And that's where we're going to leave off for today.
I'm
Oh, was that
literally-
one yours?
I literally, as we're ending the stream, I'm putting the content warning back into the chat. Like,
Incarnadine are rigged to explode upon death. It's an Incarnadine thing.
Oh my goodness.
So that's what happens. A person explodes.
this dude's name should have been Clifford Spray.
Yeah.
Or
like-
kind of a red name.
Or
'cause,
pink,
you know,
pink mist, maybe.
Pink Mist.
Ah! Oh,
Oh, boy.
dang.
Gosh, that sure happened.
I think. Wait, where did the tooth go? That tooth go should be on the front of the heart book, I think, or it should be a quote on the back. Like, you want heart in one sentence? It's this sentence. Wait, where did that tooth go?
Did that sentient ass tooth go?
You know what's funny also is how little I bet you'd be surprised about what I'm making up and what I'm not as well. Like, sentient tooth sounds like a crazy wild thing that couldn't possibly be written in a book, but it might be. It might actually be a thing in the book. So anyway, there we go. Session 2 of Heart.
I don't like it. Oh
You
my
know
goodness.
what? I second that. I don't like it.
Oh my goodness. But this was amazing. Oh my goodness. Thank
you.
Thank you everyone who's been watching. Thanks everyone who's played. Let's go around and say goodbye to everyone. Please tell us who you are, where we can find you, what you're up to, and all that good stuff. We'll go in reverse order, starting with Jordan.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm the guy who ends the session by exploding in person. You can find me at Made of Cartoons on Twitter and anywhere Jordans can be found. And I want to thank Roll20 and Rowan Wook and Tekka for being so awesome. Go if you like this game and you want more ideas and weird things, go join their Discord. It's really friendly and nice. I'll shout out their Discord. yeah, Grant and Chris are in there all the time, coming up with weird stuff, and saying random weird stuff all the time. Yeah. That's it. Was I supposed to say anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Your favorite weird thing? No, you don't get to choose. You already did all the. We'll save that for another time.
I think. Wait, where did that tooth go? Is my favorite. I like that is instead of being like Mellifera, something weird has happened. You just cut. You didn't bury the lead. You just went straight to the.
There's no time.
Yeah, no one knows. No one knows about the tooth at all, and suddenly it's gone. It's probably my favorite little bit.
Dustin was in chat putting some of the best worst puns. I was in pain. You can't handle the tooth.
Oh God.
Yeah, there were some other ones, but that.
I think Alex had a good one too.
Yeah, but
We want the tooth, the
all
whole
the
tooth,
puns,
and nothing but the tooth.
all the puns really had bite.
Speaking of which, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at @TheOneTrueK. You can find my games at archon.itch.io. And I have recently been working on a game called The Wild Sea, which is about wild sailors sailing atop a treetop leafy sea and running into all sorts of weirdness.
I can't believe how much good art and stuff is in the thing that you're letting everyone look at for free.
Yeah, the art is fantastic. You can find more information about that game at thewildsea.co.uk. A new test play document just came out, which has enough material to run like a one-shot or like a mini campaign. It's fantastic, really cool, and if you like kind of weird fantasy and being able to play as a cactus person or a mushroom person, then I highly recommend it.
Awesome. We've put both your itch.io and the Wild Sea link in the chat for anyone that's interested in it. I'll try and make a mental note to also put that into the YouTube video so that people can find it. Hi, if you're watching this later on YouTube, I'll try and put all the links down below so you can find them, because you should find all this cool content. And right as we're ending, we're being raided. Welcome, Open for Adventure. You came right at the end, which means you've missed out on some very good story, but I didn't have to give you the content warnings, so now be warned. We're playing a dark, horrific, spooky, but wonderful game, and you should absolutely join us for it. Not next Saturday, but the following Saturday, because we do this every other Saturday. It's called Heart. It's amazing, and we are happy to have you. Please do come in, and we'll say some of our favorite things. Ryan, do you want to share what one of your favorite things from the episode was, maybe?
I want to find out what happens with this book person and Roa. I'm so curious. I also just love like the imagery of like this person who has a book for a face with like pages curled up and pages flipping as like more things happen and they write more of their tale. I just loved it.
I'll take credit for that and say that I did make that one up.
Nice.
I'm proud of it too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to give you a taste of the other places that are connected to the Baffling Din, so.
No, I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was really cool. Awesome, let's go around and say hi to Sam!
Hi, I'm Sam. You can find me at Sam on Damiel, and on Tuesday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can find me on Salty Sweet Games playing Burn Bright with Jess, and there haven't been any cursed teeth in that one.
Yet.
Yes.
Gonna have to see if Kiana also separately comes up with some cursed teeth.
We'll report back to you if they do.
Yeah, we'll let you know. Yeah, I love it and I hate it. It was absolutely that cursed tooth. I have such a love-hate relationship with that cursed tooth. that was getting really squicky. And then it was over. And I was like, oh, good. I was so curious. I really want to know how that plays out.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can find me at Samondamiel. Come check us out, Burn Bright, and then come back here on September 5th for the next episode of Heart.
I hate
Will
that
it
the
really be
next episode
September?
is in September.
Oh my,
I
I'm
know.
dying inside.
Yeah, but August is almost over, so it's not like that far away.
I know, but still. It hurts my heart. Oh, thank you, Sam. Let's go around and say hi to Sharon.
Hello, I am Sharon. You can find me on Twitter at @chew_baka. And I will be on the Chromatic Chimera stream next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Unprepared show, where we are going to play through some GM-less games, or in this particular instance, one GM-less game, which is, it's a reskin of Beak, Feather, and Bone, where you play as, like, fun for people.
Tail scale and
Yes!
Tail scale and
Tail Scale and Bone?
Tail scale and bone? Yeah. So it's like the mermaid version of Beak, Feather, and Bone?
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to play mermaids on Chromatic Chimera, and that is next Tuesday, which is the 25th, I think, at 7 p.m. Check us out. It'll be a lot of fun.
Unprepared is so good.
It's so good. Yeah,
I think
and
that's what
Ryan
we
actually,
played,
Ryan played the original version on this channel with us. That was the first game you ever played with us on this channel, I think.
The first time I ever streamed anything.
Yeah, I followed you after that game, so it's very exciting.
Wow.
It's a very good game. I'm excited to see y'all do the mermaid version of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, my hair has gotten very long because of lockdown, and I was like, I should really cut it, but I'm gonna wait until after the mermaid game. Like,
Mermaid hair. Mermaid hair.
I love it.
Yeah, my favorite thing is probably just the fact that the inside of a deep apiarist's head is this like meticulously scaffolded great hall. I don't know. Because I remember walking inside Grand Central Station for the first time and being like completely awestruck by all the constellations. So now I'm wondering what's written on the inside of your head, Mellifera.
It's just all like a honeycomb hive pattern, but like clean and neat with little organizers for everything. Like everything is
a hex grid.
Very organized. Yeah, everything is very organized in there. It's
the secrets of the universe inscribed on the honeycomb.
Yep. The only way to read it is with a flashlight up to her ear, or sorry, their ear.
Their ear port, yeah.
Ear port. That's one of my favorite things.
Your port security is, it's good. It's really good.
Oh goodness, this is so good. Thank you all so much. So just a quick thank you one last time to Rowan Rook and Deckard, who made this awesome game. Check them out, check this game out, check their other stuff out. It's all very good. Thank you to Roll20 for their Spotlight program, and for the whole time that we're playing, you can follow along with us here on this awesome Roll20 sheet that Jordan made, and I've shown off a few times while we've streamed. You can't even, like, at some point we're gonna have to do a full show and tell of all of these amazing tokens and all that they do, because each of these actually has like a lot of variability in what it does in the map. With the hex grid actually like comes out as we travel and everything like that. It's very, very, very heckin' cool. And obviously up at the top here, we each have our little sheets of who we are and what we have, and this amazing, amazing art. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for Open for Adventure. Anyone that came in on that raid, I know you love some good TTRPG content over there. Y'all are awesome. Thank you for that heckin' lovely raid. I hope you had a good stream too. And feel free to follow, because we do lots of tabletop role-playing game content. We'll be back with this show in 2 weeks. Every other Saturday we do Heart. Usually on Fridays we do either an indie game spotlight or a Fiasco Friday. We also have our brand new Dark Matter series that happens on Sundays. So lots and lots and lots of good stuff. So do come hang out for all of that. I'm Jess. You can find me at go_JG at all the places. If you can't find me, go_JG. It's usually some variation of that. It's go Jess, go JG, go_JG, something something. But yeah, I love what I think my favorite was just the good Borzoi, the good boy Borzoi boy. I love, and just the description of his tongue being so long and his like face being so skeletal that the tongue is just like bleh at the side of his skeleton face, just like. It's really tough for me to not just constantly be showering him with affection, because I love him. Mellifera's like, what a mess. What a horrible, what a disgusting display.
What a waste of a skull.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there.
I was gonna say,
We
now that
checked.
we've... That's true. I was gonna say, now that we've looked inside and discovered that it is relatively clean in there, I think they're like, huh, okay, maybe not too bad. At least they have a nice clean noggin going on. That's a good place to start. But yeah, and we also thank you to all the folks who participated. We had our first intrusion, and I don't know about you, but personally, I hope we get to see more of Clifford Spray, because
I'm a big fan of Clifford Spray.
they were very interesting, and I want to see more. I want to see more of Clifford Spray. So yeah, with that said, we're gonna get ready to go raid another lovely TTRPG channel. We're gonna go raid Friends Who Roll Dice, who are actually doing 12 hours of tabletop role-playing games for Lebanon, raising funds for Lebanon. So we're gonna go over there for some good stories, good community, good people, and a good cause. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Do come back for more fun times later. I'll be back in like 45 minutes to play Destiny with my best friend Dustin, because that's what we do Saturday nights. Chill out and fly through space and do cool stuff. So thank you all for watching. Thanks everyone who played. Jordan, thank you for running for this terrible, wonderful, horrible, wonderful, amazing game.
You're welcome. I'm having a blast.
Yeah. And we'll see you on soon for some wonderful, more spooky, good dog, sentient teeth, murder times. I don't know. Oh goodness, see you all later.
So
Thank you
good.
so much. Bye.